What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Brendan, aka Drip, back with another video and deck profile. In today's deck profile, we got the absolute chef's kiss sauce. This deck is so freaking disgusting, dude. I've been crafting and theorying this deck for a while now. It's just I've been working on so many different decks. I haven't really had time to sit down and just dedicate time to it only because I've been working on so many different videos and stuff and some personal stuff that just for myself and stuff like that. So haven't really had time to sit down and mess with it. But when I did, I finally got it done. I decided to take it to locals, and the deck is very freaking good, very gross, and I'll talk more about that before we when we get there. One thing I want to say is I want to apologize about the audio quality. It's kind of bad. My mic went out. My little secondary mics that I use, the little USB thing that I plug into my phone broke for some odd reason. I don't know how. It just broke. I think it's because of the when I do locals live on the live stream, the wire pulls on it. So because there's not very much room at locals for my charger and stuff like that. So I apologize for that. So please forgive me. Other than that, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, bell notifications so you never miss an upload. We do all things Yu-Gi-Oh here. Deck profiles, discussions, which most of my videos are deck profiles and discussions in one. We do openings, all that good stuff on the channel. So please subscribe if you like that kind of content. Other than that, this is a tournament deck profile, so I want to talk about my matchups before we get into the video because this is a tournament video. So my record was 3-1. I should have got first or second place, and I got third, but I should have at least got second. But tiebreakers screwed me over. My round one, I played Pearly. I lost 2-1, mainly because I couldn't see any engine at all. It was very frustrating. And then round two, I played against Labyrinth. Labyrinth Unchained, to be exact. It's mainly Labyrinth with a small Unchained package. I won that one 2-0. And then round three, I played against Unchained Live Twin, I think it was. And we won that one 2-1, I think it was. And then final round, I played against Flunderies and won that one 2-1 or 2-0, I can't remember. Overall, very good matchups. This deck, it was very, outside of game 3 of round 1, the deck is stupid consistent. It's very good at what it does and what it's trying to do and accomplish and everything else. So there's not much need to be said. The two engines feed off of one another very well and complement what one another's trying to do. I know a lot of people don't like the Runick engine, and to be honest, I really don't either, but in Orcust, it almost feels different, if that makes sense. If you know me, you know I'm loyal to my decks that I like anyway, so if I have any way to try to make them good, I will. And these two actually feed off of each other. It's not just really copium, so. But I understand why a lot of people don't like the Runick engine. I don't blame you. Because that's another reason why this deck is so good, because the Orcust engine is so small, because Orcust is just a small engine in general, that you have so much room for non-engine, and then you pair the non-engine with the Runick engine, it's basically playing a Orcust hand trap deck, basically. It's insane, and not a lot of decks can deal with that. Plus the recyclability from both engines, along with longevity from both engines, makes it really hard for a lot of decks to deal with. No matter how down you are, you're never out of the game, really. Starting out for the Orcust engine, if you see my Orcust videos, you know my engine, my ratios, it's the same and they never change. 2 Nightmare, 2 Skelly, 2 Wand. I'm not running Brass because there's no real need, because another thing that's really good about this the Runick engine is they all are pseudo barricade board blockers, in the sense of being able to get the ones I don't want in my hand out of my hand by searching my fountains and stuff like that. That's another way that the engines flow very well together. And then the Honorary Orcust, I'm running the 1 Armageddon Knight because it gives me an additional normal summon. Sometimes in early testing, when I wasn't running this card, I found myself not being able to get into Orcust engine and seeing Gearsu or drawing. I wasn't drawing Nightmare I was drawing the other ones and I couldn't really get into engine, so I ran that for that, even though this never really came up last night in real life testing, but it's there if you need it. I like the 2 engine. A lot of people like the single, like 1111. I don't like that. It makes it more of a harder situation to make sure you properly recycle your stuff. Yes, it can be done, but in some scenarios it's harder to do that. So, and then hand traps, we got 3 Ash, 3 Ogre, because these are the best ones right now in my personal opinion. Ogre is very good against Monodium and Pearly, so I want to just be strat for those decks, because in theory, you also in theory your Runick engine has every other hand trap you might need. So in theory you can run the other hand traps that your Runick engine don't have and you don't have in your deck. So in theory you are running all of the hand traps and have every matchup covered, if that makes sense. That's what I wanted to do and how I wanted to build it. And then Runick engine, that's it for the regular monsters and other engine. Runick engine, we got 3 tip, 3 freezing curses, 3 flashing fire, 3 destruction, and 2 slumber, and then 2 fountain. I didn't run the storm or whatever it's called. In theory, you could probably run 1 slumber and 1 storm just in case you did draw multiples and stuff, but it's whatever your personal preference is. I don't run the continuous spell. I was initially, but that's the continuous spell was actually the Armageddon Night before I swapped it over. But I feel like it's just win more with that. And I'd rather have more consistency cards than just win more cards. This engine is really disgusting and should get hit. Tip should probably get put to 1 and fountain should probably get put to 1. The deck is just stupid. I mean, the engine. And then I'm running Book of Moon because it's good against Cash. It's good against Monodium early on in their combo. And then it's good against Pearly when they're trying to use their Yeep to rank up their E and E Pearly Noir into their X Pearly Noir. So you just cut them off from that line and they basically just lose from there after. Because, like, if you think about it, in theory, the Ogre and the Destruction is for the My Friend Pearly against that matchup. You get rid of My Friend Pearly, and then all you gotta do is to deal with the board. You don't have to really deal with anything else because then they get 0 follow-up. And then this is obviously dealing with their board. This deals with their board. Once you deal with that, you're just golden. And on top of that, like I said before earlier, you want to put in hand traps / board breakers that Runick don't have access to currently. So Book of Moon deals with that because Book of Moon's very good right now. 1 Foolish Burial because it's just a god card in this deck. 1 Rhoda because it's another Armageddon Night, which brings us up to 5 normal summons. And then 1 Return, and then 2 Crescendo to clean it up for a 40 card deck. Initially, like I said, this was the quick play spell, the continuous spell, and then the Armageddon Night was the Storm or whatever the Hammer Runick card is. The one that banishes how many cards they control or whatever. But I decided sometimes I would open too many Runick cards and not enough Orcust. But I don't know. That's just my personal preference. On to the extra deck. We got our Beautiful World Legacy tokens because why not? It's got Galteo on it, so we got to run it. Link 1, you got to run this because it gives you a +1 when, with Gearsu. So being able to get that additional +1 to end on your full board, which is Galatea, Crescendo, plus IP Masquerena, is just too good. Then we got 3 Galatea. Ignore me freaking only having 2 ultis. For the longest time, I only ran 2 Galateas in other builds, but in this build, this deck is so slow. It's not the fact that it's so slow, it's the fact that this deck likes to run slow. The 3rd one does come up, so you need to have it. It will come up, I promise you. So 3 is mandatory. You will make the 3rd one all the time. Just because you need a generic link, basically. And why not just use Galatea? So the 3rd one does come up. So and like I said, that's why I don't have the 3rd. Leave me alone, I'm sorry. And then one Long Gearsu. Long Gearsu does come up. I know a lot of people would play Orcust don't run this card, but this card is so good. It's like an additional Dingirsu. Definitely in this deck, when you don't get a battle phase, a lot of people, when they play against this deck, one, they're shocked because they don't know how the two decks actually feed off of one another. And then their second thought is like, all right, they don't get a battle phase, so they can't really break my board. Well, you break their board with Runick cards, and then you break their board with this and your Dingirsus. There's several times where I played into a full board of negates, played through their negates, broke their negates, and then used the Runick engine plus the Orcust engine to completely simplify the game state, and then set them under Fountain with Runick cards in hand plus a Crescendo set. That's another reason why we are running 2 Crescendo, by the way. This is absolutely mandatory. If I could run the 3rd, I probably would, but I don't have room for it. I don't care to draw this card. I really don't, because there's so much draw power in this deck. It's absolutely insane. On top of that, this being able to constantly in the graveyard to banish to get you Gearsu, access to Gearsu is like so crucial, and it's so like clutch, because like being able, that's what really insane about both of these engines. You have infinite loop of resources with both engines, so both engines are like able to outgrind most decks. That's where this deck shines, because the decks that you kill the fastest are the decks that can't grind, and there's not very many decks in modern Yu-Gi-Oh that can grind. They just, because this deck forces them to grind if they can't hang with the big dogs, and they just lose. So like once you break through you break through their board, or they can't break through your interruptions, it just overly simplifies the game state. But there are some decks that are out there like Unchained and a couple of other decks like that that can hang with the big dogs and grind. So that's another reason why where the 3rd Galatea comes up, and in those you gotta outgrind the grinding, if that makes sense. That's where the Crescendos come up, not just for the negation factor and the banishment factor, but for the fact to be able to keep banishing and adding your Gearsus or something from your banish pile face up if you misplayed and didn't do proper rotation by shuffling back with Long or Galatea. That's another reason why the 3rd one comes up, is to constantly keep shuffling your stuff back. And then moving on for the rest of the extra deck. Masquerena, Phoenix. I use Phoenix. This is actually supposed to be a second Hugin, but the people, my teammate that I was borrowing the Runick engine from didn't have a second Hugin, so I was more worried about back row instead of my like combo deck. So I went ahead with Phoenix, because they are what is it called? Vanquish Souls running around. I didn't want to deal with Tikaboo, so, and I didn't want to always count on potentially having destruction in hand. Unicorn, which is one of your main targets for Api Masquerena. Then your main target for the most part is Zeroboros. This card is disgusting because you're banishing so much off the top of your opponent's deck with the Runick cards. And then this is easy to make with your Orcust engine regardless. So you're banishing stuff for your combo, and then you're banishing the cards off your top of your opponent's deck. So it just makes sense to make this. And when you make this with Masquerena, it can be destroyed by card effects. And then you just wait for it. Definitely, if you're playing against combo deck, they're bound to summon something to zone. If not, then you just do it on your turn and kill them. I know another thing that people are probably asking, why am I not running Babel? The reason why I'm not running Babel is because you don't want to get rid of your fountain spot, and Crescendo is just better if you just play it as a play this deck as like a control based deck. And the deck, and the best thing about Babel was just being able to summon Dingirsu on your opponent's turn to break their board. Well, the Runick engine basically breaks the board on your opponent's turn anyways, while giving you more pluses than Babel does. So I was running Babel early stages on, but then I realized like the Runick cards do the same thing, just better in sort of sense. Zoroboros is really nice. You make him mid game, like turn 2, turn 3, and then you just after you overforce simplify the game state, they try to play, and you just banish everything, and he comes back at like 9k, and you just kill them. That's another reason why I like this version of the deck outside of other like Runick engine decks, because they have no true way to kill, where this deck can kill once it simplifies the game state. Because what this deck wants to do is force your opponent to play slow while out resourcing them, and then just kill them after that. And then I run one Goddess. I know it's a light, but there's a lot of Chaos Angels where I play, where I'm at my local, so I just don't feel like dealing with that, so I just play that to get rid of it. Double ding. 2 ding's been the standard for years now. Nothing needs to be said. Like I said, this is supposed to be 2, so 2 Hugin. This is the flex spot, but I'm running 1 Gary. This is like the entire flex spot, the entire extra deck. I just didn't want to lose the time. I know it sounds stupid me running this, but not running the continuous spell. But I just didn't want to lose the time, because since you are sacrificing your battle phase so much, and when you play against those decks that can grind with you, you will go to time most of the time. I just never want to lose the time, so I ran this. In theory, this could be anything. The 3 cards that I'm testing is this, the level 9 Runick card that can banish a monster during during your opponent's battle phase or your main phase. Or I'm also testing Savage, because going second with this deck, or if you set it up properly, you can make Girsu a tuner. Because he says, where is he? He's right here, his first one. If there's 2 or more other cards in this card's column, treat it as a tuner. So you can, if they have a card in the column, in their column, and then you, let's say you like summon this in your extra monster zone, and then you normal summon under here, you can make him a tuner, and then you can link synchro it away. Like if you have another one, once you link this away with like you like, for an example, you use Girsu, send Nightmare target, and target anything, send Wand, and then you can link those off into, keep Girsu on the board, link those 2 off, make Galatea, and then Galatea effect, shuffle back, set whatever you want, and then you can make Dingirsu, put him in the main monster zone, and then summon Gary with another Runick card, and then sync for Savage or something mid-game. Early game it would be hard because you wouldn't have a link in Graveyard, but it's very possible. You could still do it. You would just have to dedicate a whole play to it. I'll end up probably trying to find a way to make that consistent, because potentially ending on a crescendo of Borreload Savage plus Runick cards would be pretty much detrimental against most decks. But like I said, the Moonin could be anything. I'm just testing this right now because I literally just thought of Savage before I even sat down to make this video, and I just don't want to lose the time. But that's it for the extra deck. Let's go to the side deck. Side deck I feel is pretty generic. It covers a lot. So you can copy my side deck if you want. If not, you just cover to whatever you feel like is best for your locals or wherever you're going to an event. 3D barrier, because synchro decks and XE decks are pretty much everywhere. You got Kastira, you got Monodium, you got Pearly, you got Sword Soul still hanging out, you got Branded. So this is just very good, and it's a going first option, so that's another reason. This card is like sleeper right now in this format, so evenly matched definitely gets Pearly and Monodium. You just, if they don't turn skip you with Monodium, but you just use this against like Pearly, and they just, if they don't have the specific cards they need, they can just go hard neg and you just kill them. 3 Dark Ruler because it's just too good. Herald of the Abyss because it's good. Generic, going second card, and it's very good against Pearly, obviously, but it's very good just board breaker anyways. Definitely gets like Branded too, because you can use this to force them to send their Mirror Jade, and then their Mirror Jade don't get the effect to blow up your board during the end phase because they sent it and you didn't. And on top of that, even if they did, though, it don't matter. You can just play around it by making Dingirsu, and then Dingirsu to protect your shit. And then 2 Cosmic, and then 1 Duster. Just because you can never be not strapped with back row hate. I just feel like that's the most generic side deck, honestly. But that's it for the main, extra, and side. If you're an Orcust fan or you were looking for a different build for Runick, I really think you should test this out. If the ban list comes and goes and they end up putting tip to 1, I would probably put in the Storm quick play, and then if freaking Harp comes back, I'll put Harp in the other spot. If Harp comes back and this deck is still this good, like they didn't hit all the Runick cards, this deck's gonna be insane. The additional +1 that Harp gives us is ridiculously good. Not only that, it could potentially give us another 4 to make it easier for us to make Savage without having to burn our Gary. But if we do play the Savage, I'm probably going to play test with this a lot more with the actual Savage build and see what I can do. See if I can try to make it early on. I know I can make it mid-game, but I want to try to find a way to make it early on. But with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoy this video. This deck is super saucy. It's very, very freaking good. If you like decks like I do that have infinite grind and both kind of feed off of each other, give this deck a try. It does the same thing over and over again, repetitive, but it's good at what it does. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And on top of that, decks that simplify what they always try to do usually always have good results anyway. So yeah, I really think you should give this a try, and I love you guys so much. Until next time, it's your boy Brendan, aka Drip, from Team D.D.D. Signing out until next time. Peace. Good dueling, my guys.